So we just got back from the Tahoe Rim Trail a couple of months ago, and I'm just getting around to doing a gear video. So what I'm gonna do is just go through my pack, show you everything that I brought, and at the end, I'll put a link to Lighter Pack with the actual weights and stuff like that. This is just more how I packed it and what I had. So we ended up sharing the Bearcan between the two of us. And this was a new purchase. The Bearcan was somewhat awkward. In the beginning, I had some kind of sit pad balanced in here to hold the Bearcan because otherwise it would slide forward all the time and get a little awkward. With this setup here, you'll see in a minute, the sit pad's in here and it sort of holds it in place. I had no issue, it never slipped, moved, anything. So that was good. Once I had that out of the way, then I could get into my pack. And this is the Durston Kakwa 40, which is brand new for me. I got it on this trip, not specifically for this trip. I wanted it for the Arizona Trail coming up in October. But I wanted to try it out on this trip first. So first thing notice is obviously Smart Water and the Sawyer Squeeze. I carry two 500 ml bottles. They're basically like the equivalent of the lightest, flimsiest, sort of like a Nestle bottle. I like to have juice or cold coffee on the trip, so I'll use these as my clean bottles. And I keep the Smart Water bottle as my dirty bottle. I have the sport cap on there to back flush my Sawyer. Tends to work pretty decently. We had a couple long carries. Didn't end up really needing this, but this is a Hydro Pack. It's a 3 liter with this coupler for the Sawyer. So I could do basically a gravity. If we get into an area where there's very little water or you're needing to scoop, I actually bring this little cup and actually used it on other trips in Arizona. I'm trying to get out into water that you can't quite reach, and you can hook this into your trekking pole and scoop. So that actually works pretty decent. I also, little Petzl Bindi rechargeable headlamp. It's not the brightest, but it definitely works for what I need. I keep this on the outside of my bag. So this is just an old recycled dehydrated meal bag. I keep my spoon in here, which is an MSR folding spoon. So I will just have a Ziploc in here with my food, throw some water in it, leave it in here on the back of my pack while I'm hiking for the morning, stop, have a lunch, or I might have it for a cold soak supper. Keep a bug net in here in case I need it. I've got 75 feet of string in case I had to do some kind of bear hang or some kind of repair. Generally, I don't keep it in there. It's normally in my food bag. I just forgot. And, just some reading glasses. Home Depot, super cheap, super light. Getting old, I can't see anything anymore. Trowel, toilet paper, and little hand sanitizer. Here's just a piece of a pack towel that I've chopped up. I've got an old one that I keep chopping up every now and then in a little face cloths. I use it to clean anything, wipe sweat off my brow. It's always right there. It's pretty convenient. In the shoulder pocket, I keep this little tripod, which works okay. It's also the selfie stick, which comes in handy depending on what I want to do. In my hip belt, I've got chapstick, sunscreen, little individual package chamois butter, and then this little thermometer from ThermoWorks to see how cold it got at night. My other hip belt for this trip, I had a GoPro. I didn't use the GoPro a ton on this trip, but I did get 1 or 2 neat shots that I wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. Inside my pack, right on the top, is a sleep pad. It's the 1/8 inch Gossamer gear. It's great as a sit pad. I like to have it underneath my inflatable pad. It makes the inflatable pad quieter in the tent. I've been carrying it for a couple of years. I really like it. I keep my sweater on top, which is a Mountain Hardwear air mesh. Tried it, been happy with it so far. Outdoor Research sun hoodie, which I use as a sleep shirt. It's sort of on the top of my pack because if it's a really cold morning, I leave it on in the morning, throw my hiking shirt on top of it, keep going, and then it just ends up in the top of the pack. Pack towel, but just a little bit of towel if I wanted to go for a swim or cleaning condensation off the tent. Anything basically, I always have a towel. Rain jacket is Outdoor Research Helium. I brought this for this trip because unlikely that there was going to be much rain. Then right up top, I got a food bag. Because we were sharing a bear canister and because the bear canister was on the top of the pack, I still have my food in my pack. At the end of the day, I had to transfer it over. This one is a great big open mouth, so it's easy to find that last peanut butter or Snickers. In my food bag, I get a little bamboo toothbrush. It's a kid's version, so it's nice and short, but it's still long enough that I don't have to stick my hand in my mouth. Didn't have to cut anything down. Small toothpaste. Then I've got electronics, and I just sort of keep that all in a sack. It's buried, but it's fast enough to get to it. For some reason I needed it. Because of all this electronic junk, I've got an iPhone cord, a USB-C cord, and then one small USB-C cord. Wallet, which is just a small little Z-Packs with cards in it, medical stuff, everything I need. We're coming from out of country, so I've got to travel with a passport. Keep that safe. So I just put that in, what's this? A smelly proof bag. I just put it in that, it fits the passport. It's a little more robust than a Ziploc. It doesn't weigh very much. Got some Enlightened equipment, wind pants. I don't carry rain pants. I've never hiked in rain pants. So these are more for cold around camp, or if it's raining and I gotta go to the tent to go to the washroom in the middle of the night, I can just throw those over my clothes and not worry about it. This is the Nylofoam backpack liner. I got that at Gossamer Gear. I didn't put everything in here because it would have been super duper noisy. What else do I got? Oh, puffy jacket. It's the Enlightened equipment, synthetic. I think it's the Apex Torrid maybe, with a hood. I like it. It's got pockets. It packs down small enough. It's really light. Little fleece beanie. Always gotta have one of those. I generally always sleep in that. Base layer bottoms, mostly for sleeping. Always have a buff. I generally only use it for sleeping, a lot of times to hold my beanie on. Sleeping pad is the Thermarest Uberlight. I'm dainty, I need a pillow. I can't do it without it. Sleep socks, which are just basically liner socks. Ditty sack. This is where I keep sort of all my emergency stuff. I've got a mirror, little tiny compass, because this is a pretty well marked trail. It's mostly, I want to know where north is. Some water tabs in case my filter breaks. Extra O-ring for the Sawyer because they put these garbage O-rings in the new ones and they tend to fall out all the time. I've got some pills, antihistamine, ibuprofen. I always have this little tiny space blanket. I've only ever used it on one trip, but when you need it, you need it. Small first aid, it's got everything I've needed in there. I keep a piece of Cuban fiber tape. It sticks to just about anything. It doesn't weigh anything. It's great. Extra Thermarest repair kit. I've actually used that on trail once before. Little tiny Swiss Army knife. It's the, I don't know, mini something or other, but it's got scissors, knife, tweezers. That's all I need. And Leukotape if I get a blister, which I haven't had in years since I've been using the Injinji socks. And then my sleep system. So what I keep in here is, for this trip, I've got Z-Pak's new 40-degree summer quilt. The other half of my sleep system, which is my blankie. And this is just an old 50-degree Enlightened Equipment quilt cut in half. It adds a ton of warmth. Or first thing in the evening when it's, say it's 60 or 70 degrees, I'm trying to go to sleep and it's super duper hot, but as soon as I doze off, I get chilly. I'll just use this as a blanket. And then maybe in the middle of the night, I can throw the quilt on. And then lastly, because I was hiking with my co-conspirator, we split some of the gear. So she carried the tent and I carried the bear can. So we used a Duplex XL from Z-Pak's. It's basically the duplex with a strut on each end in the center to give you a little more headroom, and it's slightly longer. For two people, it's tight, but absolutely doable. But at the 700 grams or whatever it weighs with steaks and everything between two people, and it might even be less than that, it is so light. So essentially, in this bag is just the Z-Pak's Duplex and some Big Agnes I-beam steaks. And then to set up the tent, I use trekking poles, the Black Diamond Distance Z carbon fiber, non-adjustable. They're super light. They fold down if you're gonna go off trail, scrambles, in an Uber. They're easy to get out of the way. And they're strong. I've used them for years. There's been a few times where I've taken some nasty falls, pitch poled on them, and they've never broken. So I really have no complaints at all. And I just forgot about the hiking clothes that I wore. It all started with a pair of Injinji toe socks to keep the blisters at bay, Brooks Cascadia trail runners, Dirty Girls gaiters to keep the debris out, pair of spandex-free athletic shorts with pockets, lightweight, breathable, button-up long-sleeve shirt, and to minimize the amount of sunscreen that I use, a Sunday afternoon adventures hat. And I use a pair of black safety glasses. They're cheap, they're light, and it doesn't hurt so much if you scratch them or lose them. And that's it for this gear video. Just getting ready now for the Arizona Trail, going in a couple of weeks, so we got to get prepared for that. Food, resupplies, gear, completely different than the TRT. TRT was nothing but sunshine the whole time. Arizona is just everything and anything.